Close your eyes for a second and picture the Monopoly man. Got it in your head? Good. Does he have a monocle? If you said yes, he doesn't. He never has. Not in a single official version of the game, ever. Now, this is where the strange part. If this was just you misremembering one board game, that'd be nothing. Forgettable. But millions of people, total strangers, different countries, different ages, no way of ever influencing each other. Picture the exact same monocle, on the exact same eye, in the exact same spot. That's not a mistake. Mistakes are random. This is a pattern. And once you start looking for this pattern, you'll find it everywhere. In logos, you've seen 10,000 times. In movie lines, you'd bet your life on. In your own childhood. So what's going on? Is this some kind of proof that we're living in a simulation and someone changed the code? Or is something happening inside your head that's actually way more interesting than that? So what is this Mandela effect? This phenomenon gets its name from Nelson Mandela, and the story behind it is a good place to start. In 2010, a writer named Fiona Broome realized she had a clear memory of Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s. She remembered news coverage. She remembered his widow speaking. The problem? None of that happened. Mandela was released from prison in 1990, became president of South Africa in 1994, and lived until 2013. Here's the part that made this a genuine phenomenon, and not just one person's fuzzy memory. When Broome mentioned this online, she discovered she wasn't alone. Thousands of other people had the same specific, detailed memory of a death that never happened. That's the Mandela effect, a case where a large group of unconnected people confidently share the same false memory. And once researchers started paying attention, they realized this wasn't rare at all. It was happening constantly, in places most of us never think twice about. To understand this better, let's look at a few examples. The Berenstain Bears. How do you spell it in your head right now? Most people picture Berenstain with an E-I-N at the end. It has always been B-A-I-N. Berenstain. Named after the actual authors, Stan and Jan Berenstain. Millions of kids grew up with this book on their shelf and still misremember the title on the cover they physically held. The fruit of the Loom logo. Picture it. Fruit spilling out of a cornucopia. That curved horn shape. Most people are certain there's a cornucopia in there. There never was. Just fruit, hanging together, no horn. Luke, I am your father. One of the most quoted movie lines of all time, except the actual line is, "No, I am your father." Nobody says Luke in the scene at all. And yet, that misquote is so widespread, it's basically replaced the original in pop culture. The Kit Kat logo. Is there a hyphen between Kit and Kat? Most people say yes. Check the wrapper. There isn't. Never has been. Curious George's tail. He's a monkey. Do monkeys have tails? Yes. Does Curious George? No, and he never did, in nearly 80 years of books. Notice something about all of these. They're small, specific, visual details that shouldn't be hard to get right, because we've seen them dozens or hundreds of times. That's what makes this so strange. This isn't happening with obscure facts. It's happening with things sitting right in front of us. Quick pause. If you're the kind of person who likes finding out your brain has been lying to you your whole life, subscribe now so the next one lands in your feed. Okay, back to it. Now, there's a fun theory floating around the internet that says this proves we're in a simulation, or that reality got glitched, or that we slipped between parallel universes where the details are slightly different. It's a fun idea for a movie, but it's not what's actually happening. And honestly, what is happening is more impressive, because it's about something we can actually study, your own brain. Your memory was never built to work like a video recorder. It doesn't store perfect footage of your life that you rewind and play back. It's closer to reconstruction. Every time you remember something, your brain is rebuilding it, partly from what actually happened, and partly from patterns, expectations, and logic filled in after the fact. So why do so many people fill that gap in exactly the same way? Take the Monopoly man again. Monocles are associated with old money, top hat wearing wealthy characters. Rich Uncle Pennybags, the actual name of the Monopoly man, fits that image perfectly. Your brain already has a mental image for rich, old-fashioned businessman, and that image comes preloaded with a monocle, a cane, and a top hat. He has the hat and the cane. Your brain quietly adds the monocle to complete the picture, because it fits. This is called schema-based memory. A schema is basically a mental shortcut, a set of expectations your brain uses to fill in blanks quickly instead of storing every tiny detail. Most of the time, this is incredibly useful. It's why you don't have to consciously relearn what a kitchen or a birthday party looks like every single time you encounter one. Same logic with the cornucopia. Cornucopias are the classic symbol for abundance of fruit in Western art and holiday imagery. Your brain has seen that symbol paired with fruit 1,000 times, so it borrows the pattern and inserts it into the fruit of the Loom logo, even though it was never there. And Luke, I am your father, spreads, because it's a smoother, more efficient sentence for retelling the story. When you explain the scene to a friend, you need to say who's being spoken to, so the misquote isn't a random error. It's your brain, and pop culture as a whole, unconsciously editing the line to make it easier to pass along. This is also reinforced socially. Once enough people repeat, Luke, I am your father in movies, parodies, and conversations, that version gets reinforced in your memory louder and more often than the one time you actually heard the real line in the theater. Repetition can overwrite accuracy. None of this makes you unusual or bad at remembering things. It makes you human. Every brain on the planet uses these same shortcuts, which is exactly why the same wrong memory shows up in millions of people instead of just one confused person. It also says something a little humbling about memory in general. We tend to treat our memories, especially confident, vivid ones, as if they're proof, as if certainty equals accuracy. The Mandela effect is a quiet reminder that those two things aren't the same. You can feel 100% sure of something and still be wrong, not because you're careless, but because that's simply how memory is built. That's worth remembering the next time you're absolutely certain about something from years ago. A conversation, an argument, an event. Confidence feels like evidence. It isn't always. So, did you get the monocle wrong? The cornucopia? Be honest in the comments, because I guarantee you're not alone. If this video helped explain something that's been messing with your head for years, do me a favor and hit like. It's the single biggest thing that helps this channel grow, and it takes 2 seconds. And if your brain enjoyed getting gently betrayed by itself today, stick around, because next time we're looking at another glitch in your thinking. The effect where once you notice something once, you suddenly start seeing it everywhere. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it.